Hello everybody. Today we're going to learn about Putin's information war on the West. How many of you know how the Russians really did their cyber operations? Well, today we're going to find out. Back in 2012, I was working as an intelligence officer with NORAD, and we tracked many of the Russian threats, but one threat we did not track, and it came back to haunt us, was the Russian information warfare capabilities. After I'd come off of work at NORAD, I'd come home, and often I'd log on to Facebook and I'd see a posting like this. And it was usually spread by one of my conservative friends or even one of my military friends. The famous Putin versus Obama meme. And there are many variations of this. This is just one example. But the fact that this was spread with the help of Russians and certain conservative elements is kind of at the core of Russia's campaign of information warfare. The U.S. intelligence community did an assessment, and they determined that Vladimir Putin did order an influence campaign in 2016 aimed at the U.S. presidential election. And Russia's goals were to undermine public faith in the U.S. democratic process. And the Russian government developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump. All three intelligence agencies agreed with this judgment: the CIA, NSA, and FBI. The Russian strategy blended covert and overt operations, was state-funded and used third parties. They conducted cyber operations against various U.S. targets. They even used DC leaks and WikiLeaks. But we have to go back much further. We got to go back to during President George Bush's term in office. And during the 2007 Munich Security Conference, Vladimir Putin became very upset with the U.S. role in the world, and he was determined to put a stop to it. Basically, during this process at the conference, Vladimir Putin declared his hostility to the Western order led by the Bush administration, and he threatened to respond to it. Of course, he would wait till Obama was elected president before it really started to take form. Russia used various subversion and active measures to address their new campaign. Everything from insertion of agents to political propaganda, information operations, modern mass media. They would exploit ethnic, linguistic, class differences. They would use corruption, and they'd compromise officials. Russian state media played a key role. These are some of the key players in Russia, in Russian state media: Russia Today, RT, Sputnik, Russia Direct, Russia Behind the Headlines, and Russia Insider. Many of these media platforms come across as being open and unbiased, but on closer examination, they show that they work for the Kremlin agenda. Active measures. Here's a pretty simple chart on how active measures works. Take, for example, the Russian intelligence agencies. They will hack and extract data. They will give it over to WikiLeaks, DC leaks, who will then feed it to their mainstream media sources like Sputnik. And then you also have hecklers who operate on the dark web, who will feed information over to things like InfoWars, Zero Hedge, and they will get FaceTime on RT platforms. Russia also used money to finance many far-right leaning political parties in Western Europe, with the main goal of undermining democracy in Europe, the EU, and ultimately to have a negative effect on NATO cooperation. In Germany, a Russian propaganda campaign featured a fictitious and invented sexual assault committed by migrants on a Russian girl named Lisa. And the whole goal of this campaign was to sow division in the West about immigration. Also notice how the story was picked up by right-wing extremists in the US and got lots of notoriety and played on right-wing websites. Leading up to the Brexit vote in the United Kingdom, there was political coordination with Russian intelligence services and through a UK-based Russian firm. They provided money laundering funds for the pro-Brexit UK Independence Party, otherwise known as UKIP. During the Scottish referendum of 2014, Russia's international observers meddled and led the call for a recount of the Scottish votes. Russia has made a concerted effort to malign and politically subvert the West. Russia's objective is to discredit the US, NATO, and Western democratic values, at the same time attempting to seize and assume leadership of traditional values. RT America TV, a Kremlin-financed channel operating from within the United States, has substantially expanded its repertoire of programming that highlights criticism of alleged U.S. shortcomings in democracy and civil liberties. The Kremlin has committed significant resources to expanding the channel's reach, particularly by its social media footprint. RT America has positioned itself as a domestic U.S. channel and has deliberately sought to obscure any legal ties with the Russian government. Russia's cyber actors even impersonated ISIS and carried out a cyber attack spreading misinformation in the name of ISIS. This hoax ISIS cyber attack was on the Colombian chemical plant in Louisiana and occurred on the critical date of September 11, 2014. It reported an alleged explosion at a chemical plant, and local residents received text messages and information spread to various social media platforms. Several reports claim that the militant group ISIS had taken responsibility for the attack. This hoax was actually Russian cyber actors attempting to increase fear of Muslims and ISIS within the U.S. The hoax was exposed by Adrian Chen of the New York Times. Unlike Soviet propaganda, Russia's information warfare does not crudely promote the Kremlin's agenda. Instead, it's calibrated to confuse, befuddle, and distract. Modern Russia has weaponized information, turning the media into an arm of state power projection. Their nihilistic approach is best summed up by the motto of the Kremlin premier TV arm, RT, "Question more." Russian disinformation does not aim to provide answers, but to provoke doubt, disagreement, and ultimately paralysis. Russian cyber trolls. These are individuals who remain anonymous while posting half-truths or deceptive information designed to persuade or influence thinking. They got 4 steps. They dismiss the critic, distort the facts, distract from the main issue, dismay the audience. In this example, we have Finnish investigative journalist Jessica Airo, who was one of the first journalists to uncover the tactics of the Kremlin with cyber trolls and information operations. She was immediately attacked online by the Kremlin and all the Kremlin could bear to bring in with trolls and other information warfare actors. Also, notice how They distort the facts and distract from the main issues, such as attacking Black Lives Matter issues, and they turn it on its head. Another way is dismaying the audience. In this example, they have a right-wing post calling for the lynching of Obama or John Kerry. Reflexive control is a form of military deception which leads the opponent to self-destruct through self-disorganization and self-disorientation. Reflexive control seeks to find a weak link in the opponent's filter of information, the concepts, knowledge, ideas, and experience that are the basis of its decision-making, and to emphasize and exploit it. Carefully constructed false messages are secretly introduced into the opponent's public opinion. Messages take the form of rumors, forgery, conspiracy theories, manipulative political actions, agents of influence, or front organizations. Laura Galante gave an excellent TED Talk on this topic of reflexive control. Russia's information operations. They conceal propaganda in subtle intimidations of objectivity to the expectations of their intended readers and viewers, facilitated by the willingness of unscrupulous or deluded native speakers to serve the Kremlin against the interests of their own nations, whether as editors, correspondents, or interviewees. In this way, the media effort reflected the way in which the troll army adopts a different approach for different forms, ranging from simple abuse through confusion with half-truths to sophisticated arguments. Remember that Obama-Putin meme? Please note that this is a Tea Party Patriot site that spread this. This with other upcoming videos, the Tea Party and Patriot movement will play a central role in the Russian information war. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.